All right, Shannon, let's talk about, we see it not a lot, but I think, every now and then people come in, we pull their credit and they have no credit, meaning no credit score.
Yep.
They've never had credit before. What can we do to help them out?
So there's a few things you can do when you don't have a credit score. Some of it depends on the reason you don't have a credit score. So there's two basic reasons we see people don't have a credit score. One is you've just never had credit and therefore you don't have a credit score. The other one is sometimes if you have nothing but bad credit, like a lot of collections, things like that, but you've also never had any sort of credit where you're paying monthly, that can leave you with no credit score. So those are kind of the main reasons we see people not have a credit score. One is obviously easier to fix than the other. So it is, if you just don't have a credit score because you're young or you've never used your credit or whatever
Cash
reason
only.
it could be, then, sometimes we start by trying to help you get a credit score, and it doesn't always take that long. So usually kind of the gold standard of rules is 3 trade lines will help you. What's a trade line? Credit card, car payment, anything like that is considered a trade line. Obviously, we're not like, hey, just go buy a car you don't need. So we tend to start with those smaller things like credit cards, sometimes like small personal lines of credit, something like that, just to help you start establishing a credit score. But there are ways to get loans when you just don't have a credit score. Some of it depends on if you have a cosigner, that if you're buying with somebody else who does have a credit score, sometimes that can be really helpful. Also, we can document what's called non-traditional credit and build a credit score that way. So think like rental history, utilities, cell phone history, stuff like that. So, there's ways we can document credit scores, but generally speaking, those no credit score loans, excluding the one where you have a co-borrower that does have a credit score, if it's just you, no credit score, we build a non-traditional credit history, the rates tend to be a little bit higher on that. So sometimes it's better to wait a month or two and have us help you get a credit score so that you can get the best rate available for you. And a lot of times when you don't have a score and we do a little bit of work to get you a score, you generally come in with a pretty good score. So those are things that we do a lot with people to kind of help them do a little counseling, see what we can do to help you get a credit score so that you can get the best rate and loan product available for you.
So really the key is everything that Shannon talked about, but more importantly, get involved with your lender early. We can't overemphasize that enough. Is if you're gonna put an offer that day and you have no credit, it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this in steps. We'll go through it, we'll work with you. Do everything that Shannon talked about if you are one of those individuals that don't have credit, and we'll walk you through the process. It's gonna be, it's not an overnight fix, right?
Even if we're building non-traditional credit, it is not something you can go to your lender and say, I'm here today and I want to make an offer. Building non-traditional credit takes some time, and we wouldn't be able to tell you if you qualified or not until we kind of have some of those steps in place. So even if that's the route you go, it still takes some time to get all of that in place. So good to come to us in advance and start working on that, particularly if you know you don't have a credit score. One other quick side note. You can lose a credit score if you, say, previously had credit history and then paid everything off and you don't use your credit anymore.
Problem.
You could lose a credit score. So just keep that in mind. Using like a credit card for a tank of gas, or if you don't have anything else and paying it off every month still counts, and will still keep you your credit fresh.
So again, to keep fresh with everything, reach out to Shannon and I early. We'll walk you through it and get you really prepared to put an offer.